Hi everyone, if you are watching recording, do fast forward 2 minutes. We're going to get started here. Let's check and make sure all the technology is up and running. Oops. I feel like it's very dark. Let's see. Put that back up there. Close that. Open that. Okay. Yeah, it feels really dark. Let's see if I can fix that. A little bit better. Even more better. Oh. All right, we're going to start here in just a minute. Everybody enjoying their, what is it? Today's Monday? Wait, is it Monday or Wednesday? Today's Monday, right? Monday. I know. It was a long weekend. I was working all weekend, been working on August classes and whatnot. So just about done finishing up one. We're going to do an enamel Zoom next month just to do something, go back to something different, I guess. We haven't done an enamel Zoom in a long time, so I was like, oh, time for an enamel Zoom. But even more exciting, we're going to do a Zoom short next month, which means that it's a free Zoom with a purchase of kit. So that's coming up. I'll be posting that soon. Oh, I lost my image here. Hold on. Aha, I know what happened. Hold on, one more thing to add on here. I see the problem. Taha, there it is. You know, files cannot be read if you don't give it something to read from. I had the image file in on my USB or my flash drive, and I pulled the flash drive. Look at that. So the image is now back, which is good. So it's 1 o'clock. Let's get started. Today is Makeover Monday. So what we've been doing on Mondays is we've been making over, so we say, old projects, some of which I consider a little bit less than inspired, and but like today it was just sort of an approach on an old design, just to see what I could do to bring a new design, not even to freshen it up. It's not like it's old. I mean, heck, this one was done a year ago. Let me think. Where are we? We are in July, so it would have been about a year ago that this project had happened. So let's talk about design for a second. You know, I thought that this might be a nice little opportunity to again touch base on design. So the Circuli earrings was this one, okay? And this was a little bit of a challenging design in technically with this whole ring thing, but I felt that the design itself was pretty solid. It's fairly, let me think, conventional, I guess you could say. You know, it's not completely out there. It's not crazy. It is a little bit on the more modern side, but yet it has a little bit of tradition in it. And that's just this basic teardrop shape, and we just made it interesting. Okay, so there it is. So, you know, there's so many different approaches to things when you're looking at it. It's about how can we put a twist on things. I was talking to a friend last week who asked me to take a look at her work. She said, you know, everything I do just looks the same. And as much as I understand that a lot of us get into the same color palette, like today I'm working on enamels, like I just want to do blue and green because that's what I love. And it's always a stretch to go outside of our color palette, but we're not talking about that per se. We're talking about design. And so I took a look at her stuff, like, well, yeah, all of your stuff look the same because everything hangs the exact same way. You know, all her pendants hung like in this teardrop shape, and it all hung from the top, and there was no real variance to it, even though the stones had all changed up. There's no real variable to it. So what I started suggesting is, you know what, why don't you look at this a little bit differently? What if you turned it upside down instead of always going in this traditional shape? So that's what I did here with the new designs you can see on your screen. Is I turned it upside down, just like so, okay? And it just presented something different. And it's a different look. You know, if you look at certain things, like, again, teardrops is a really great way, a real easy one to look at, is most teardrops are hung like this with the tip on top. But as soon as somebody turns it upside down and puts the tip on the bottom, all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more modern, a little bit more different. There's a bit of a twist to it, which is great. And that's how you should be looking at things, I think. If you're trying to freshen up what you're doing, or if everything that you're doing looks the same, consider just turning it. So here I turned it and I decided to add on this cute little bead just to add some color to it. And again, give it a little twist. So let's get started. What you'll need today, let's go over what you need. Let's pull out a little bit. It's a really simple, straightforward project. So what you'll need is a multi-looping plier, your soldering setup, of course, because we're going to heat it. Although we're not soldering anything, we're going to need a torch today. A 3/8 dowel rod, a pair of flush cutters, or just cutters would be good, and maybe a needle nose plier or two so that we can open and close rings. Okay, then you're going to need 18 gauge wire. So I have, for my project, I have 18 gauge copper, brass, and some fine silver, okay? And of course a ruler is going to be helpful too. So let's cut those pieces and go from there. So you'll need, of course you can change this up. You can do it all in one color if you want to, or you can do it in two colors if you don't care for brass. I just like the mixed metals. It's just sort of fun and makes it, for me, a little bit more interesting. But the first piece that you'll cut is going to be about 2.5 inches. You can go bigger if you want. You can also go with 16 gauge if you prefer. 16 gauge will make this a little bit heavier. The first one was done in 16. And it's just a little bit stronger of a design. Unlike the one that I have today, it's an 18 gauge, so it's a little bit more delicate. And you can play with gauges because maybe you want it to be a little bit more feminine or whatever. The gauges will also help you by going a little bit thinner to make that just a little bit more delicate. Okay, so here we've got 1.5 inches, so 2.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and then we're going to go with a 1/2 inch on the fine silver, just like so. So the first one, we're just going to make sure that you file the ends. If you don't have a good flush cutter, I'm just going to flip this over and snip that burr off. So you want to go ahead and file the ends, or maybe if you have a cup burr, go ahead and cup burr the ends of the wire just to remove any sharpness. What's really nice are those cup burrs are a really great way to go. Okay, so here I'm just going to bend this in half. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. So we're going to bend this in half like so. Okay, around your 3/8 dowel rod. And with the smallest section of your multi-looping plier, we're just going to make a loop. Turn, 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 turn. So what's nice about the multi-looping plier is it sort of guarantees that I have the same size loop on the other side. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So you can see. And notice I'm turning it up. You see that? Okay. Because I like my loops to look like this, I'm going to bend it back just a little bit. So I've got my round nose right in here where the wires meet. And we're going to bend it back just a little bit. Same thing here. And you can see the shape that I'm looking for. I don't know why, but I don't like it when it has this like flat back thing. Okay, I'm going to put it right back in here, and I'm going to bring it together like so. Okay. And bend it out. You can see, like that. Okay, so next up we're going to make a ball pin on a double ball pin, so 2 balls on each of the next 2 wires. I like using my Gentech for brass. I don't know why, but I feel like the hot, intense heat makes it for a much nicer ball. So we're just going to hold it right at the tip like so and make about a 2mm ball. Okay. I feel like the butane torch just sort of makes little, it's not as smooth, it's not as nice. And the same goes for sterling silver, by the way. If you want to make sterling silver ball pins that have nice balls on them and not granulated, right, granulated, then you'll want to go to a higher heat piece or a higher heat torch. Okay, so here I'm going to do the same thing on my fine silver. So I'm going to heat it right at the tip. You see there? And so I'm making a little tiny itty bitty dumbbell. I don't need to pickle that. So the brass piece went into the pickle on the side. And well, oops. My chair is caught, sorry. Okay, so while the brass piece is in the pickle, I'm gonna wire wrap a bead. So of course you're gonna need a piece of wire that is thin enough to go through whatever bead that you have going on. So I'm just going to put that in like so. And how I do this is I take my round nose pliers and I make a bend like so. You know, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. These are teeny weeny little wires. Okay, so I make a bend like an L, and then I'm gonna go back the other way. Make sure that this loop is big enough for your wire, and I'm gonna go right past it. You see that? Oh, this is so hard to see online. See, I went right past it. And then I'm going to grab it again on that end and I'm going to bend it down. So now I made sort of like just a little loop there, and it has a tiny little tail there. And I'm going to put this back in here and I'm going to bend this up. So now you'll see here in a second, so delicate. So that little bit of wire is right here that I started with. That L ends up being right here, and I bent the wire up to the tip of my bead there. Okay, so wait for it. So now I'm going to open this up just a little bit, this loop. Ooh, ooh. So I'm going to swing it open just a little teeny bit, and I'm going to slip my dumbbell in there. Okay, actually I made the loop big enough so I don't have to slip it in there. So I'm going to pull this over across, and I'm going to just start wrapping it around. And I'm using my fingers instead of my pliers right now because this wire is like 28 gauge wire. It doesn't need a pair of pliers. And notice I'm just gently taking it to the top. Let's see. You guys see that? You could have made that L a little bit smaller if you don't like all of these wraps, so that the loop is a little bit closer to your bead. I have a tiny bit of excess wire here sticking out, so I'm just going to move it in. Okay, we'll set that aside. Let's go get, well, since I'm here. Okay, so I made my loop too small or too big that my dumbbell is going through. It should be bigger than that loop. So you know what? I am going to just make another one. So you have a choice. Either you make another dumbbell and make the balls a little bit bigger, or you make your loops a little bit smaller. So I didn't quite make it big enough. I'm gonna, what am I doing? Okay. I happen to have a piece of scrap already sitting here. So we're gonna go ahead and, oops, make this ball a little bit bigger. Just like so. So it doesn't pass through. But I'm feeling like I should probably make my loop smaller. I can't decide what I want to do here. There we go. Let's see if it passes through. Okay, big enough. Good. Okay. And I know now my ball is going to be too big for my loop, so I'm just going to put it on here. What's really great about having one of these torches is you can do it with a bead on it, because it's going to go so fast, it's not going to matter. Just like that. Oops, I almost quenched that. Bad girl. Don't go quenching that. Okay, the bead would have gotten a little bit warm, but not enough that it will crack it or damage it, which is great. See, I can hold it. But you don't want to go quenching it because you'll shock it and it'll crack. So now we'll take out our chain nose. We're going to swing this to the side, and we're going to add this on like so, and swing the loop back. If the loop is still too big, let's make it a little tiny bit smaller. See, so it doesn't fall out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, except this time, make sure that the bead is in the middle. Okay, this time I'm going to squeeze that loop down, that horseshoe down, so that it fits in my little dumbbell. Can you say I have the weirdest noise coming out of my computer right now? Okay. So then we're going to slip. It's a little fickle right now. What the heck? Ah. Okay, we'll make this even smaller. Goodness, it doesn't want to do it today. Come on. Just go ahead and go in there. Into the dumbbell you go. There it is. So I say. Oops, it slipped out again. There it is. Okay, so my wire is being, I don't know why it's stuck. You know, I'm going to take it apart, be easier. I thought I could get away with it, but I'm going to take it apart. Okay, of course my pliers is not working. Grab another pair of pliers here. So what's my issue right now? My issue is that my tiny little wire wrap is stuck and it won't move. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to unstick it. See, it's stuck on this side over here, and I don't know why. Okay. I think it fused to my silver. So much for this quick and easy demo today. I'm gonna have to cut it off and do it again. Huh. Yeah, it's stuck. So we're just gonna cut this off. So here's another way you could do this. Jiminy crickets. Okay, so I'm just taking the wire off. and it is definitely fused onto my silver, but that's okay. We'll make the adjustment here. I'm going to slip this back into the loops, and then we're going to wire wrap directly onto this at this point, because that's the easiest approach, unless you want to start over. Like so. And then this one is going to get locked in. We're just going to close that up. There we go. Okay, so it's locked in there now. I'm going to play with it just a little bit more, just to straighten this out. Because, you know, you want this thing to be symmetrical. It's not great, not bad. So there we go. Round that up a little bit. Okay. Again, not great, but not bad. Oh, I see. I see the problem. So just sort of futz with it and see where you go. Okay, there it is. So now we'll have to rewire wrap this to get it on, because obviously I cut it off and I cut the loop off. So here's the other way of doing it. Just finding some wire. So once again, on your wire, we're going to take out that round nose and we're going to make an L on the wire. Teeny weeny little L. Then right at said L, we're going to make a loop big enough for the wire, the silver wire, bend it all the way forward like so. I'm going to bend it back. So there's my loop. Put it into your bead and bend it over the top. Straighten that out a little bit and bend the other one over. And now we're going to add it right onto our loop, like so. Bend it back, and using that tail, we're gonna wrap the wire, the loop in place. And so this locks everything in place, because what you're really doing is you're binding that tail in there so it doesn't fall apart. Trim off any excess. There it is. Let's go get the brass out of the pickle. Because you know what's going to happen is this brass will turn pink, and I'll show you how to fix that. So brass inherently, when you heat it and you put it into pickle, it will turn pink, as you can see. It's no longer that brass color. The reason why is the copper in brass, because brass is made of copper and zinc, is coming up to the surface. So to clean that up, we're just going to use a little bit of steel wool. There you go. Actually, we'll come back in so you can see what's going on. I'm wiping up my bench, because if it's wet and I get steel wool, or get my steel wool wet, it's going to be rusted by tomorrow. So don't want to do that. Although steel wool is cheap, we don't, still a mess. So notice I'm just cleaning it up, and it's coming right back into this nice, beautiful brass color. Okay. Okay, there we are. And then we're going to take out our multi-looping plier, and we're just going to bend this around like so. And we're making a horseshoe out of it. he's just sort of cute. There we are. Actually, he's a little bit big. I'm going to cut that down just a hair here and do it again because he's a little bit big for me. So we're just going to unbend that and do it again real quick. And then I'll show you how to make the earring wire while this pickles again. So you know what's sort of cool? I don't know why I'm thinking about this and I'm sharing it out loud, but you know what's really cool is I spent all day yesterday sitting on my workbench making stuff. That's what's really cool, is it's my job and I like it. Not everybody can say they love their job or can have a job that allows them to sort of be creative and goof off, right? Okay. So for the earring wire, I'm using 20 gauge copper. You can use sterling if your ears can't handle the copper. And I'm just going to make a quick loop using my multi-looping plier, like so. And then I'm going to put it right back in here. Oops, it's a little big. Eek. Okay, I'm going to put it right back in here into the largest part of my loop, or the largest part of my pliers. I'm just going to bend it, and voila, I have an earring wire. Don't forget to make sure to file those ends because it'll be sharp for somebody who's wearing it. So again, a cup burr is really nice for this, or just a file. Okay, there it is. Let's get the copper back out of the pickle. And we'll clean it up again. You know, sometimes you get these black marks on your metal. And, you know, it could still be fire scale, but sometimes a fire scale just sort of sits there even though it is off of the metal. And you just need to wipe it a little bit. Let's see, can you see that on my towel? No. And you'll see the black come off right away. You know, so if your piece has been pickling for a long time and the black doesn't seem to be coming off, put a brush to it. That might just be the trick to get it to come back, right? Because a pickle, sometimes pickle doesn't take you all the way to where you need it to be. And you just needs a little tiny bit more help. And here, it wasn't even a brass brush to get it there. It was simply my towel. Because again, it was just dirt that's sitting on the surface, that's all. The job of pickle is to remove it, to separate it really, to separate the fire scale from the surface of the metal. And you know, it's separated, it just needs to be wiped off, that's all. However, there are some pieces that are so tormented, it never cleans up. Had that happen yesterday. Okay, I've lost my pliers. What? I'm like, what? Okay. I know. Can I do a demo without losing my pliers? Just saying. Probably not. So here we are. We're bending it back around, making our little horseshoe. I love this horseshoe shape. There it is. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit smaller. I'm going to go to the next one down because I can. Here we go. So for those of you who had made the purchase of the Circuli project last year, I added the instructions to I added the instructions to that link. So all you have to do is go back into your account and look for the Circuli project and go back in there. You'll find the next download. For those of you who are new and haven't made any of these purchases, the downloads are available for $5. So not only will you be getting this project, but you will be getting last year's project all at the same time. So that's it. This is, again, pretty straightforward. Thanks everyone for watching on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Really appreciate it. If you like anything that you see here, it is available on theurbanbeater.com. We, of course, always appreciate your likes and shares, and definitely your contributions have helped us come a long, long way. So, enjoy the rest of the week. Hopefully it's Monday. It's almost over, and it'll be a great rest of the week. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for a new UFO, Jamie's Project. Yep, total new reveal. All right, we'll see you on Wednesday.